Hello and welcome to another video of Krishna Katha, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 16. Shushrusho Shraddhanasya Vasudeva Katha Ruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtani Shevanat. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. O twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Purport. The conditioned life of a living being is caused by his revolting against the Lord. There are men called Deva, or godly living beings, and there are men called Asuras, or demons, who are against the authority of the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 16th chapter, a vivid description of the Asuras is given, in which it is said that the Asuras are put into lower and lower states of ignorance, life after life, and so sink to the lower animal forms and have no information of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. What's the difference between animal life and human life? Humans can inquire about God, and animals cannot. Other than that, we both eat, sleep, mate, and defend. And if humans are only doing that and not inquiring at all into the solutions to life's problems on a deeper level, then they're behaving just like animals, becoming better at eating, becoming better at sleeping, better at mating, better at defending. But if we don't think about what is the real solution to these problems, birth, death, old age, and disease, what is the real solution to these problems, then we're no better than animals. These asuras are gradually rectified to God consciousness by the mercy of the Lord's liberated servitors in different countries according to the supreme will. Such devotees of God are very confidential associates of the Lord, and when they come to save human society from the dangers of godlessness, they are known as the powerful incarnations of the Lord, as sons of the Lord, as servants of the Lord, or as associates of the Lord. But none of them falsely claim to be God themselves. This is a blasphemy declared by the Asuras, and the demoniac followers of such Asuras, or demons, also accept pretenders as God or his incarnation. In the revealed scriptures, there is definite information of the incarnation of God. No one should be accepted as God or an incarnation of God unless he is confirmed by the revealed scriptures. The servants of God are to be respected as God by the devotees who actually want to go back to Godhead. Such servants of God are called Mahatmas or Tirthas, and they preach according to particular time and place. The servants of God urge people to become devotees of God. They never tolerate being called God. So here it's mentioned that the servants of God are to be respected as God. Not accepted as God, but respected as God. Why? Because just like a let's say representative of the president of a country, when he comes to your house, let's say, you would give him the same respect as you would the president, because he's a representative of the president. So similarly, the servants of God, they're representing God. They are teaching about God. They are teaching how to come to God, the process. And so they're representing God and his mission of reclaiming the fallen souls. So they are given the same respect as God, although they are not accepted as God, and they would not tolerate such. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was God himself according to the indication of the revealed scriptures, but he played the part of a devotee. People who knew him to be God addressed him as God, but he used to block his ears with his hands and chant the name of Lord Vishnu. He strongly protested against being called God, although undoubtedly he was God himself. The Lord behaves so to warn us against unscrupulous men who take pleasure in being addressed as God. So Lord Chaitanya is the most recent avatar or incarnation of Krishna, of God. He appeared around 500 years ago. And he's the Yuga avatar, the personality of Godhead who is inaugurating the specific religious principle for this day and age, which is the chanting of the Lord's names. And he appeared as a devotee to actually exemplify that, how to practice that process properly, how to implement. So, but he was God himself. The servants of God come to propagate God consciousness, and intelligent people should cooperate with them in every respect. By serving the servant of God, one can please God more than by directly serving the Lord. The Lord is more pleased when he sees that his servants are properly respected, because such servants risk everything for the service of the Lord, and so are very dear to the Lord. The Lord declares in the Bhagavad Gita 18:69 that no one is dearer to him than one who risks everything to glorify his, to preach his glory. By serving the servants of the Lord, one gradually gets the quality of such servants, and thus one becomes qualified to hear the glories of God. The eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee eligible for entering the kingdom of God. The eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee eligible for entering the kingdom of God. And how does one get such eagerness? Shrushu Shro Shraddhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syanmahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely free from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. So those servants, they have the affinity of hearing the messages of Vasudeva. And by serving them, one pleases God. And when one pleases the Lord, then he becomes merciful, and he gives his mercy. So by his mercy, one gains an affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva, by the mercy of the Lord. Because to have an affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva, one would need to be attracted to Vasudeva. Vasudeva is another name of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, Vasudeva. And so one would need to be attracted to him in order to want to hear about him. And one can become attracted to God by him revealing himself to us. And he reveals himself when he is pleased. And he becomes pleased when we serve him. And the best way to serve God is to serve his servants. The servants of God. By serving the servant of God, one can please God more than by directly serving the Lord. The Lord is more pleased when he sees that his servants are properly respected, because such servants risk everything for the service of the Lord, and so are very dear to the Lord. By serving the servants of the Lord, one gradually gets the quality of such servants. So they are serving the Lord, and the Lord is pleased with them. And so they have an affinity for hearing about him, because they're very attracted to him. And by us serving those servants, we also gain an affinity for hearing about the Lord, even though we're not serving him directly. He is more pleased with us if we serve the servants than those servants are even to the Lord. So, find a servant of God and serve them. because then one gets the same quality of those servants. And thus one becomes qualified to hear the glories of the Lord. The eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee eligible for entering the kingdom of God. What happens in the kingdom of God? There's glorification of God the whole time. Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the Lord's names, qualities, pastimes. So, if we want to go there, we need to have that affinity, because that's what's going on over there in the spiritual world. So we can develop that here in the material world, and then we'll become eligible to go there. If you don't have the affinity for hearing the messages of Godhead, or chanting His glories, and listening to His glories being chanted, and then you'll go there and you'll feel uncomfortable. You can't go there if you don't have that affinity. So this is a very practical verse, and this is a very wonderful principle to become a humble servant of the servants of God. It's a very enlivening verse, one of my favorite verses. And so find a servant of the Lord and serve them. Hare Krishna.